Welcome to One-on-One. I'm Greg Bassett, your host from the Salisbury Independent newspaper. It's a big day here at PAC 14. They're all big because we have law enforcement in the house. Chief Brian Swafford from the Fruitland Police Department is here today. Welcome, Chief.
Thank you. Glad to be here.
Now, you're a star of the Most Wanted show, which comes on the Crime Solvers at noon. So it's going to be interesting to actually see you in a conversational point of view as opposed to just like announcing people that you guys are looking for.
Right. I'll say I'm a co-star.
No, you are the star. I think people wait for you. I guess Tim Robinson usually closes the show.
Is that how they're doing it?
Yeah, I think so. But you're the guy. We all look forward to seeing you.
Oh, okay.
So how are things in Fruitland?
We're doing good. We're doing good. Same issues everyone else is having in Wycomico County is people stealing from cars and, of course, overdoses and the opioids. But I feel like we're doing pretty good.
So you're one of those guys, you come up through the system. You're a product of the Fruitland Police Department
That's
system.
correct.
So many of the previous chiefs were like, they were on sunset tours. They had been in the state police or somewhere else, and they're like, well, I'll finish my career in Fruitland. But you're really born and bred Fruitland guy.
That's correct. Our last two chiefs were both retired Maryland State Police, and as far as I know, I'm the first chief we've had in quite a long time that, if at all, that started and has been with Fruitland their entire career.
No, I was a reporter for a lot of years. I always used to sit there in the newsroom and say, if I was the editor, I would do this and do that, you know. And then I got to be the editor. I realized you can't do all those things. Are you facing that as someone who's an officer and now you're in charge?
Some of it, but some of it, a lot of it is actually things that over the years I said, I wish we did it this way, or I wish we could do it that way, and I'm finding out that we actually can.
That's good.
Right.
You have an example, something you want to talk about and brag about?
A lot of the community stuff, we're doing a lot more to connect with the community than we used to do, and I've always felt like that was one of the things we were missing. So we're a lot more involved with, there's an after-school program that we worked on with a city grant that actually came from UMES, where we helped kids with their homework, hung out with them, played video games. They built an orchard, you know, just interaction. National Night Out gets bigger every year. We're doing foot patrols at different times on every shift. It's mandatory.
Okay.
We're bike patrol. We're just spending a lot more time out of our cars, talking to people, interacting with people.
And that's important because there is this sort of national thing going on with a suspicion or mistrust of police. Do you want to talk about that?
Sure. It's funny because I think we've talked about it before amongst ourselves that the things you're seeing on the national news and the very vocal minority would have you believe that everybody hates us, and that's not the case at all. We don't see that on a daily basis. We don't see it in our community. I honestly have more people shake my hand and want to talk to me than we ever have throughout my career. So I don't think in this area it's that problem, but you know, so goes the rest of the world. It could happen here too, and I think that's why it's important that when times are good, people get to know you, and then, you know, when things aren't so good, maybe there'll be a little more understanding because they already know you.
Are officers aware of that, how nervous we all are in the public when we have that encounter with a police officer because we don't know what's going to happen?
I don't think so, honestly. I don't think it's something that you immediately catch on to. You know, we talk about someone being overly nervous, or some people just are. Yeah. You know, they, for whatever reason, whether it's something they've learned through the media or, you know, a bad experience someone else has had in the past, you just don't know.
Yeah, I have that experience. I get on the bypass, an ambulance gets behind me, I see the lights, and I freak out. I mean, you know, it's not even a police officer.
And sometimes it's, you know, they just don't know what to do.
Right.
And so it's important that we keep that in mind. And, you know, it's sometimes all of this, the uniform, you know, all the equipment, they're really not sure how to respond to us. So, you know, that's our job, is to be professional and just be a human being about it.
What's your advice for people? How should they engage officers? How should they conduct themselves?
The same way that you'd like to be treated.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to be shown kindness, show kindness. If you want respect, show respect. As professionals, it's our job in any case to make sure we remain professional and show respect, but it's a lot easier when you're getting it in return.
I know when I talked to Barbara Duncan, the chief in Salisbury, a lot of her problems are, I think, different than yours because she has a situation where there's, 50, 70,000 people coming into town each day, and a lot of those people are bringing trouble with them.
Sure.
They come and they go. But you're a bedroom community. You've got so many of the social type problems that you guys have to show with domestic things and family problems. It's a different kind of policing.
I'm sure it is. They have all the big shopping areas. They have things like the big folk festival that comes to town.
Right.
We have a lot of visitors to our town during the Christmas season, with the shopping and Walmart.
You have the big Walmart.
Right.
Everyone goes to the Fruitland Walmart.
Our big draw is sports. We have a
Right.
huge baseball, softball complex. We have Crown. We have Fruitland Falcons. So our draw is sports. Doesn't usually bring a bunch of trouble to town, but it's a really big influx to a small police department. So, we like to be visible, we like to be approachable, and that's our mission is for the people that live there and the people that visit there. We want to be approachable. We want people to know we're here for them.
But just for listening to the scanner, which I do as a news guy, I have to listen to the scanner. But so much of your all's time, it seems to me, is spent out in those neighborhoods, in the cul-de-sac neighborhoods, basically kind of being like psychologists for these people that are having trouble among their families.
Well, I mean, they call us for a reason, and you never know when you show up to any type of call what led to it. You know what you got sent to, but that's not always what you find. And it's our job to listen, and they called us there for a reason because they couldn't solve their problem. So it's something, sometimes you have to dig deep. Sometimes you have to be creative in your solutions, but your job is to solve the problem one way or the other.
Right. You also have the big school now in Fruitland. Bennett Middle School's right there. So that's a huge thing with people coming and going.
We have a lot of school children that come to town every day.
Yeah.
The sheriff's office does a great job taking care of the schools, but the buses, the bus traffic, the students on the bus stops, the coming and going, and helping when if something should happen at a school, the sheriff's office takes care of the schools. But of course we're going because it's still in our jurisdiction,
Sure.
and they're our kids too. So we deal with that too, but it goes really smooth. The schools do a great job. We were out there heavy the first week, making sure everybody got the coming and going down smoothly, and everything seems to have settled right in.
So they predicted a lot of traffic there on Route 13, but you guys seem to handle it really well. There's been times when I've seen officers show up there and help get the buses going around. So it seems really you guys are aware of that issue and have taken care of it.
We anticipated it being a bigger problem than it was.
Yeah.
The engineers that designed the intersection, they obviously did a great job, and we have very little issue there. Every now and then you're going to have a fender bender, and it's going to clog things up a little bit. You get it moved out of the way, the light seems to be doing its job, and actually things run really smooth over there.
One of the things we were talking about, people don't know exactly what Fruitland is. Where is Fruitland? They'll be in Allen, and they think they're in Fruitland. Everything south of Salisbury is considered Fruitland. What is Fruitland?
Fruitland is the Tony Tank Bridge to Crown on the northbound side, but on the southbound it extends to Camden Extended.
Right.
So just a few more yards basically. And east to west, you have Rowan's all the way almost to Riverside, but we stop a few houses short of Riverside Drive.
Right. And you all recently got a new police facility in the last 5 or 6 years.
Our office is about 6 years old now. Yeah. It's still new to us. I don't think it'll ever feel anything other than new because of what we came from.
Exactly.
We've come a long ways. It's a beautiful building, and we do our best to take care of it because we're not getting another one for one, but it's everything we need and some. It's great.
And it's like a symbol of pride in the town. It's a real eye catcher, and it's what you guys have needed for so long.
Absolutely. It's a beautiful building, and we are very proud of it, and we do our best to take care of it.
One of the other things that's new to Fruitland is the ambulance, which is just so bizarre that Fruitland did not have an ambulance service for many years.
Right.
I guess it's probably been in for 6 or 7 years now. But that's an amazing thing, because I remember being a parent at Crown, and a kid would go down, and you'd wait 20 minutes for someone from Salisbury to show up. It was a real problem. But now Fruitland is on the scene in no time.
Well, you would have a volunteer service, or like you said, Salisbury.
Yeah.
However, our volunteer fire department does a great job anyway. I don't care what time of day it is, they're there. They beat us a lot of the time, and they have to come from other places to get there. But the EMS crews in Fruitland are fantastic. We have training, we have Narcan, but we rarely end up having to use our skills because they're so fast.
Right.
They're pulling up with us, and they do a great job.
Right.
It's a huge plus to the town.
Now, on not a negative thing, but just so you know, the biggest complaint I get about Fruitland is the speed cameras.
Oh yeah.
I guess you've got 3 or 4. But they complain to me that they're sneaky, they're hidden, but they're not. I know where they all are.
Right.
But
yeah.
how much guff do you hear about speed cameras?
Not as much as we used to. I think people over the last few years have either gotten used to them or
Yeah.
they've been doing a better job of knowing where they're at and avoiding getting the tickets. It's if you're not speeding, you don't get the ticket. You have to be going 12 over. They're in 25-mile-an-hour zones, so you're 50% over the speed limit just about to get one.
Right.
And it's less than a Maryland state citation. It doesn't come with points, so you're actually better off for a speed camera to catch you than an officer who could give you a citation for more.
And they're basically in the school zones. They're places where they should be.
They're all within a quarter mile of a school.
Right. So that makes sense.
And ours face the schools. We're not catching people leaving the school zones.
What's the police line on the cameras? You guys like them or don't like them?
It's kind of indifferent. I have family members that have gotten tickets elsewhere.
Right.
It is what it is. If someone else has to pay, we have to pay it too. So they're here. If you've gone across the bridge at all in Montgomery County, I mean, they have them out on the highways.
Right.
Construction zones. They're everywhere now.
And the red light cameras, they have those.
Oh, they have those too.
Yeah.
I thought that went away.
Yeah. I got one in Delaware recently.
Oh wow.
Right.
So it's the world we live in now. The automation, the computers. It's just the world we live in.
Right. And the goal is safety.
It is.
It's not trying to violate your constitutional rights. It's ensure public safety.
It is, and it is a lesser penalty. So instead of the officers, even though back to school we do spend a lot of time in school zones, because things that the cameras don't get are people texting in the school zones and talking on their phones in the school zones. So we're still out there.
This September is Wacomico Goes Purple. We're putting some awareness on opioids. You deal with this all the time.
We do. It's scary, and we're doing a great job around here. We're doing a lot better than any other county in the state of Maryland at reducing overdoses and reducing fatal overdoses. But we still have a long ways to go, because if there's still people dying, then we're not done.
Any stories that have kind of hit you hard with this?
Without going into too much detail on it, we had a case, I believe it's been almost 2 years now, where we had somebody overdose in a public location in a bathroom. And we had no way to identify this person. We ended up identifying them, and you find out, a mother of 2. So, it's just tragic, and you just don't know who. It could be anybody.
Right. And that's the sense I get from the reporting we've done, is so many people, they go and have a dental procedure, and 3 years later they're addicted to an opioid.
Yeah, some people, they've had a serious accident. It could have been a car crash, a fall, and they end up on pain medication, and then for whatever reason they switch doctors, and when they switch to the new doctor, they won't prescribe until you've been a patient for so long. I'm not sure all the ins and outs of it, but sometimes their insurance runs out, or they don't have insurance anymore, so they're looking for a cheaper alternative, and they end up with heroin. And let's face it, you just don't know what you're getting.
Right.
And it's scary to me, but when there's a spike in overdoses, people are actually going out there seeking that.
Right.
They want that high that's going to take them right to the edge, and that's scary, because you don't know what's in it. You don't know if it's fentanyl. You don't know if it's pure heroin. You just don't know.
And that must be hard for the police department psyche, in that the law is the law. We're here to enforce the law, but at the same time, you have to be sympathetic to people who are going through this stuff.
And we are, and there's a lot of programs in place. The Wycomico County COAT team is doing a fantastic job of talking to these people and getting these people into treatment. And the Good Samaritan law has helped in that respect, that it gives you an opportunity to speak to this person who may have in the past called 911 and just ran away and just left this person here with nobody to explain how this all went down. And sometimes, we obtain some information sometimes, but if not, if they'll talk to somebody from the COAT team, the goal is to get them help more than to punish.
One of the things we hear about all the time, especially at election time, people will say, if you're going to redesign the county from scratch, you wouldn't have the small town cop departments. You would have a county police force. You wouldn't have a sheriff's office. There'd be a county police force. Where are you on that?
I don't know. You'd have to unwind the clock a long ways
Right.
to figure out what the landscape would look like. But the sheriff's office doesn't have unlimited resources either. So if my 20 officers were to disappear, would a countywide department dedicate the same amount of resources to the citizens of Fruitland?
Right.
Maybe, maybe not. Don't know.
Right, and if I was a Fruitland resident, I would like the idea that I pay taxes so I can have my own police department.
Exactly.
That's part of what I pay taxes for.
And the response I get from the citizens of Fruitland is that they really like knowing that they're going to have officers that can respond within a very short amount of time at all times, because we're not pulled away anywhere else to deal with something else and have to respond back there. We're already there, and I think they like that. We have close relationships with the Salisbury Barrack, with the Sheriff's Office, with Salisbury, even Delmar, even to our south out of the county, Princess Anne, Somerset County. Everybody's really on the same page, and anything that one or the other would need, everyone else is there with it. It's been a long time since I felt any of that tension between agencies. I don't see that anymore.
But you have to work at it, I'm sure.
Oh, you definitely do. You definitely have to work on it, and there's give and take. For instance, what you're talking about, how fine a line is there really?
Right.
And,
Right.
The important thing is that somebody do it. The public doesn't need us to stand around bickering over what belongs to who. Just somebody deal with it. So we'll figure the rest out later.
Sheriff Lewis has always said, Mike Lewis always said that the drug traffic, the north-south drug traffic on the bypass, which runs through Fruitland, is just insane, and that there should be more focus on that. That's not something you would do. That would be a state police or a sheriff's office.
No, usually if we have any drug traffic coming north, it's because they missed the ramp to
Really?
the bypass.
Right.
Because why would you want to go up Business 13
Right.
if your main goal is New York or New Jersey or Pennsylvania?
Right.
You really don't want to have to take Business 13 because it's just going to slow you down. But for whatever reason, if you don't have an updated GPS, you will end up in Fruitland.
Right.
And so that happens, and for better or worse, the local traffic seems to know that we stop a lot of cars.
Yeah, you do.
And we do that to protect the citizens that pay our salaries. We want people to know we're out there. If you need us, we're out there. You see the lights flashing. And if you're intent on committing crime, you see the lights flashing, we're out there.
Right.
And we treat everybody with respect. We do stop a lot of cars, but it's our way of making people aware of our presence.
Yeah, I'll see that if I'm coming back from Myrtle Beach or Virginia or somewhere I've had a long drive, and I get kind of lackadaisical about what I'm doing in the car and not paying attention. But you get there around Crown and you look down through those big, beautiful trees there, and you'll see a Fruitland police officer has someone pulled over in front of Adams Ribs or somewhere, and it reminds you to slow down. But also the good thing is the signs there. I don't know if the state does it or if the city does it. There's like a transition zone. It doesn't just go like from 55 to 25 or 35. They slow you down.
It's not a quote unquote speed trap.
Right.
We make everyone well aware that the speed limit's changing, and one of the other results of our traffic enforcement efforts is the number of fatal crashes on Route 13 over the last few years is down to, I hope I'm not jinxing us, but
Right.
we have maybe one, but usually none.
Right.
So, and in the other areas in Fruitland, our speed limits are so low that the odds of a fatal crash are really be unusual.
And people need to go slow through there because there's so many restaurants. It's interesting how many restaurants there are just in that little area.
There's restaurants.
You got the Food Lion. You got coming up on the Walmart.
Right.
You got a train track there.
And there's foot traffic. There's crosswalks.
Yes.
There's a crosswalk at Main Street. There's people that live on, not far away, but on the other side of Route 13. So there are people crossing the road there. There's bike traffic. It's so yeah, we do need to keep them slowed down.
One thing I'm hesitant to talk about because I'll start to tear up. Your officer Spencer Weersberg. I knew him as a kid, friend of my son, watched him grow up. Just such a great guy. And when you wonder about our community, if you wonder about our community, the way people have reacted to his situation, and certainly how you have been so helpful, Can you tell us about Spencer and what he's up against?
So, you're getting me too. Spencer is a great kid. He's always done the right thing, and so he was diagnosed early this year, and so he has bone cancer,
Yeah.
and he's been through chemo, he's been through radiation, he's finishing up his second go around with chemo, and then he's going to have a bone marrow transplant. But he's doing very well. He's winning right now. So, and we're hoping for ultimate victory in a few months. We'll know. But he's been great through the whole thing. He's been tough. He's been brave. But the community's been awesome.
Isn't it amazing?
It really is. It really restores your faith in the community, and it reminds you that there's people that care about people other than themselves. And it's a shame that we only do this it seems like we only come together when things are bad.
Yeah.
You know, if we could be a little kinder to each other all the time, we would feel this sense of community. But I just can't even name all the people that have, bought shirts or sent donations, or, Jeff and Diana at Operation We Care.
Amazing.
Oh my gosh, talk about heroes.
Yeah.
So it's been great, and ultimately it's an investment, because when he comes through the other side of this, he's going to repay the community with 25 years more of outstanding service.
And you, rather than just say, go off, take care of yourself, you got him back at work.
Now, I mean, we want to keep him close.
Right.
So it's what's important to him, and he's one of our guys. So.
And it's Wiersburg's Warriors. We'll put the note up so if people want to know about this. But just a great family. His father's in law enforcement with the sheriff's office. His mother's in the Board of Education. Great family, great service to the community.
Sure.
And it's just an amazing thing how people have come together through this.
Sure, and he's in his early 20s. He graduated college early. We hired him immediately. He's just, uncommon maturity for a young officer. He does a great job.
I want to talk about the law enforcement academy out at Warwick Community College. I just got a notice the other day for some graduates. So impressed with that program, and I know you have a lot of people who go through there.
Sure, all of our officers go through there. I went through there. It's a jewel really for the Eastern Shore. We have people from all over the state that come past other academies to attend ours. We have officers from as far away as Washington County. They either rent a house or put their recruits up in hotel rooms to attend this academy. It's a fantastic academy.
And we hear about a shortage of officers, but we're lucky that we have a training facility right here in our community.
Sure. And
there are jobs available.
There are. You can search out police jobs, not just locally, but all over the country. They are in demand.
When you do your Crime Solver show each week, do you get results from that thing?
We do. We're not always sure why we get as many people turn themselves in. I don't know if it's they just don't want to see themselves on TV anymore. But it works. They wouldn't keep doing it if it didn't work.
Right.
So it works.
They're getting ready to build a traffic circle in Salisbury. Everyone cites the Fruitland traffic circle as a success story when they wanted to build the Fruitland traffic circle as opposed to a four-way stop. All kinds of disaster was predicted, but how does that circle work?
No, it works really well. It keeps everybody moving. The four-way stop, traffic would back up, especially school bus traffic. It's just as easy as you yield two's in the circle and you're always turning right. It's not a big deal.
So you're a fan of traffic circles?
It works just fine.
Yeah. I want to talk to you about your program, your 9 p.m. routine. I know what my 9 p.m. routine is, and that's to fall asleep in my chair, but I think it's a different routine that you're talking about.
So we started April 1st, April Fool's Day, as it turned out. And we started what's called the 9 p.m. routine. So every night at 9 p.m., we send out a Facebook reminder reminding everybody, turn on your outside lights, take your valuables out of sight, lock your cars, bring the dog in, lock your doors, whatever. So in Wycomico County and throughout the country, thefts from motor vehicles is a huge deal. But 99% of the time, it's thefts from unsecured vehicles. So it's just our way of reminding people to lock their car doors. So we've had tremendous success with it. We started this April 1st. We've only had one instance of a theft from a motor vehicle since then. And this is something that on a normal year, we would respond to a couple times a week.
Right.
And I think we went 2 months, 12 weeks, somewhere around that before we ever had one after we started the program. And we didn't invent this. This started in Pasco County, Florida years ago. And it's something that has been done other places around the country. I was at a training with law enforcement leaders from around the country, and this came up, and some other people in the room go, "Oh, that works great." Well, I'd never heard of it. So
Right.
we came back, we rolled it out, and it's working great. So we have a banner out in front of the building. We have stickers on our cars that just say 9 p.m. routine. We want people to ask, what is that about? But it's working. We're getting more people following us on Facebook, seeing what that's about. So it's great. We like it.
Yeah. Now, when I lived in Washington, D.C., what we would do is everyone bought the club for their steering wheel and put that on there, and then left their cars unlocked because the thieves would break the window to get in. So you leave the car unlocked, put 40 cents in the ashtray, and that would be enough to sustain them. They wouldn't break your window. But that's not the solution down here, certainly.
No, we, in a lot of ways, live in a protected bubble.
Right.
People aren't breaking windows all that often to get what they want out of a car. If there's something very valuable in sight, maybe they would. But most of the time with us, it's, we even have had video on cases where they're just trying doorknobs. They find one that opens.
It's opportunity.
It's handheld electronics, cell phones, and whatever spare change they can get their hands on. That's what they're after. If they find, where a lot of times, if they find wallets or credit cards, we find them discarded somewhere else along the path.
I'm sure the community appreciates this and that there's good feedback from this program.
Sure. The crime numbers themselves show that it's a success, but people talk about it, and I think people are sharing it with their friends and their neighbors and other people they know outside of Fruitland. We would love for this thing to grow across the county, across the Eastern Shore, make things as hard as we can for those that want to help themselves to what we work hard to earn.
So do you enjoy being the chief?
I do. I love it. I feel like it gives me an opportunity to put my money where my mouth has always been and try to do the programs and accomplish the things that I always thought we should be doing.
What can we as citizens do, Fruitland residents, what can they do to help you do your job?
If you see something, say something. If it looks suspicious, nobody knows what's out of place in your neighborhood better than you do. If you think it's out of place, it probably is. Call us. So many times people, when we're knocking on doors saying, "Hey, did you see something last night?" They'll say, "Yes, I did." Call us then. That's what we're there for. That's what we're, in the middle of the night, that's exactly the kind of calls we want. Somebody sees something suspicious in their neighborhood. We'd rather deal with it then than take the report afterwards and try to figure out who did it. Let us deal with them while they're there. And if it's nothing, we'll figure out that it's nothing. They'll go about their business. But call us, please.
He's Chief Brian Swafford. He's the police chief in the city of Fruitland, Maryland, and we're thrilled that he was with us here today. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you for having me.
I'm Greg Bassett from the Salisbury Independent newspaper, another edition of 101 right here on PAC 14.
First Shore Federal is proud to support PAC 14 and one-on-one. We'd encourage every business to support PAC 14 and pick a program and support it, and let's make a difference.